I'm Grace Gardner. I'm from London Borough, Hillingdon, and tonight we're going to do some home sewing. And tonight we are going to go through how to alter a neckline on a t-shirt. So, as usual, here's what I've gone and done earlier. So let me just swap the camera around. Just give me one moment. I've found the right button these days, so I won't have to keep messing around. Come on, there we go. Right, so hope you can see that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, can you see it? Yeah, right. So I've got several t-shirts here. I have loads of t-shirts, but this neckline shape of the t-shirt, and I got some applique, which is fancy for embroidery, by the way. As you can see, the shape didn't quite fit. So what I've done, can you see that? I've actually altered this shape to a much more scoop neckline. And what I did was I unpicked the stitching. You can actually see the difference between the stitching. So I've unpicked the stitching by ripping out this row of stitches here, and then unpicking the bit between this layer and this layer, and then left the extra stitching in because it holds the two sides together. Because it's a little bit of a difference, I then stretched it to where I needed it to go after drawing on the t-shirt with a piece of soap to where I wanted it. I folded it in half. I will go through this again, so don't panic. I folded it in half so I had an even neckline both sides, and then cut it and then attach the neckline. So that's what it looks like when it's finished. Okay, and this is how we do it. So we have a normal neckline t-shirt. It's a bit boring at the moment, so what we're going to do is we are going to cut this one up. So, wrong t-shirt, sorry guys. So this is, as you can see, a normal V-neck t-shirt, and we want to make it into a scoop neck. So what we do is we turn it inside out to get a more even shape. And then we're going to fold it in half, so the front is in half. So we're going to match the seams like that. Match the underarm seams, like there, when I find them, like that. Give it a good shake, and then you can just about see the t-shirt is in half and it's even, or it will be in a minute. This is to make sure that when we cut, we make an even cut so that we have the same shape both sides, so we don't end up with lopsided. So I've matched up the shoulder seams, and I've matched up the armpit seam, and I've matched up the side seam. So we literally are going to get our piece of soap, very good for drawing on things this is, and draw around to the shape that we want. I'm actually going to make this a square neck t-shirt. So we're going to cut off all of that bit. Can you see? Can you see, Paul? Can you see where I've drawn on it?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you.
And I've got soap
sure.
today as well.
Sorry?
I've got a block of soap today, a chunk of it.
Yeah, excellent. It's just that I wanted to make sure it was in view because I've only got a postage stamp shape view that I'm looking at sideways, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So we're going to make this into a square neck. So we fold it in half, match what seams up, drawn where we want to do, and I'm now going to cut. And don't make a square, a right angle in the corner. You need to have it slightly rounded to make sure. Shape that you want. It's easier with a slight curve rather than a right angle as it goes smoother. I'm also going to cut the back collar off, collar off. And drop it down the back as well. Also, by the way, getting rid of the labels. I hate labels. They always itch. Well, they do on me anyway. Right. So we've cut this into a shape, and then what we're going to do is some of our dreaded t-shirt yarn. Ta-da! I had some earlier. Where's it gone?
As you said, it was dreaded.
I know, because if you plait it, it looks like dreadlocks. Ha ha!
Oh.
Yeah, I know, really bad joke. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I actually need the white stuff. There we go. Right. Obviously, you can pick any colour you like. Say t-shirt yarn's very handy. And no, in case anybody's asking, it wasn't a staff t-shirt. It was another one that just happens to be the same colour. So we're going to start this at the shoulder seam because we don't want a big fat seam in the middle of the front. So we're going to put the right side to the right side, leaving about ½ an inch or a centimetre or two, depending on how brave you're feeling, as a seam. So we're going to pin that into place. Okay, and then literally we're going to follow that all the way around. If you have got matching t-shirt yarn, then totally awesome. If not, if you have to make your own binding, which is what this is going to end up as, you need to cut it at 45 degrees to the normal grain of the fabric. So if you have a piece of fabric like this, I don't know if you can see that, normally square cut, but if you cut it 45 degrees, even the most stiffest of fabric will stretch a little bit and you'll be able to go around the curves much more easier.
Okay.
So, as I say, you need to unfold this and pin it around. And then simply, my favourite stitch, back stitch it all the way around. And then when you finish stitching that edge, so about ½ a centimetre from the edge, just back stitch it all the way around. And then when you've done that side, you literally just fold the other side over and then stitch into the stitches you've made. So it ends up looking like that. So it just looks like a piece of piping around the edge of your t-shirt. So you can actually do it around the sleeves as well, around the bottom, to brighten it up. This one here, I'll finish that off later and show you next week because that's going to take a while. Right, this one, because it's got a fancy design on the front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one into a halter neck. So for those people who don't know what a halter neck is, it's basically no sleeves and it has a strap going around the back of the neck. So again, we need to fold this in half, matching up the side seams. If it has side seams, this one's actually called, it's what's called as a ring spun. So basically it's actually stitched in one big loop, as you can see. So there's no actual side seams. You need to make sure you get the right place. So we're matching up the back, first of all. So it's easier to match up where the armholes are. It's a bit fiddling around, but it's worth it. So you match up the seams where the armhole are. So that's the bottom of the sleeve, that's the bottom of the sleeve. and this is the armhole sleeve. So if you stick a pin in there, that will actually hold it still while you're cutting. So that's the seams matched up underneath the arms. Then pull it down to the hem, and again pin it a couple times just to make sure that when you're cutting you get an even shape both sides. I'm using glass head pins today because I got fed up getting stabbed. So because it's going to be halter neck, we're going to lose the back a bit. So this is where the armhole ends, which is normally where ladies have their bra straps and stuff, unless they've got a special bra. So we are actually going to cut straight across the t-shirt up to the armpit, but we're actually going to go slightly above so that we can use the excess as a hem. So that's where the armpit is, if you can see that. I hope.
Yep.
Draw a straight line across, and then we're going to cut about an inch or so above that. Up to the armhole. So that is going to be the back of the shirt. We now need to make a neck piece, so it goes round the neck. So we're not cutting the whole thing off, we're cutting just part of it off. So around the neck, I'm actually going to keep that shape at the top, but then we need to make another bit at the bottom. So that's going to be at the top, and this is going to be the neck piece. So I've pinned the shoulders, apart from the fact, right, so I've now pulled both sleeves, they have the same side so you can see better. So that's flatter now. Always try and work flat, it works easier. So we are now going to go about halfway between the neck and the shoulder seam. It does matter if it's a bit rough because this is going to get turned in. So that is now our halter neck. And now we need to join the two pieces where we've cut up. And you can put a plate on this if you want. Nice circular plate. And join up. So hang on to the sleeves. They're always handy because I had a pair of pajama bottoms. Because I'm so tall, they're always too short. So what I did was I cut the sleeve straight and then put that on the bottom of the pajama bottoms. So they're just right now.
Who said sleeves were just sleeves?
Yes, I put sleeves on the bottom of PJ bottoms. So to extend them. And because they're slightly elasticated, they don't keep riding up your legs.
Oh.
So we now have that sort of shape of t-shirt left. So we have like almost a question mark, if you can see that.
Yep.
With the design in the centre, and then we've got the back. Now, because this is normally a loose t-shirt, what we're going to need is we're going to need a casing or a channel, whichever you want to call them, for a piece of elastic so that we can gather it in so it doesn't gape. So take those pins out. Don't forget to retrieve the ones you put in the sleeves, by the way. Don't throw them in the bin like I think I've just done. Right, so we're going to open the t-shirt out. And that probably now makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
If you find that that is too high up, then obviously you can cut this and put the shoulder seams together, but it's entirely on your shape.
Okay.
Not that you personally will probably wear halter necks, but if you've got sisters or mums, then they may want them. This was a special request, which is why I'm doing it. So we have now got a rather larger back. Obviously you could like cut it down the centre and make it thinner if that's what you wanted to do, but I'm just going to put elastic in it. So what we're going to do is simply fold down to where that mark was, which was underneath the armpits, and then just tuck the bottom under, so we now have a channel that we need to sew. So we now have, so it's one turn to where the height of the top is that you want, and then tuck it underneath to make it nice and neat rather than showing raw edges, and pop lots of pins in. If in doubt, put lots of pins in, because you can, it's always better to have too many pins than not enough, and then when you trying to sew it goes all wibbly. And again, if the pins are reluctant to go through the fabric, my friend little bar of soap, basically stab the pins into the bar of soap, and it will go through the fabric nice and easy.
Can you also use like little clamps as well to hold it?
If your fabric is quite fat, like a piece of leather or sweatshirt material or something like that, and you're finding it hard to hold it flat, then yes, you could use clamps. You could even use paper clips. It's entirely what you have to hand. I just have ginormous amounts of pins, so I use pins. You can use safety pins as well if you want to.
Yeah.
So pin across the back, and now we're going to go up the sides. So again, because t-shirts are quite stretchy, we'll literally fold over. This side is not going to be as big as the bit across the back, because that's where we want the elastic, but this is just going to hang. If you want to put elastic in it so your underwear doesn't show, then totally fine. So not your personal underwear, but yeah. So we're literally just going to fold over and then tuck in the raw edge, so there's a seam. I don't know if you can see it because it's black on black, but about the width of a pencil. That's all you need. And we're going to fold that and in. And then basically you back stitch all the way round, and once you've done that, you leave a small gap in one side. You put elastic on a safety pin. Here's one I had earlier. I rather like these. These are quite funny. These are called banana pins for obvious reasons, and they don't snag so easy on fabric.
Okay.
And so once you've sewed your seam, get some elastic. And you literally just put the pin on the elastic. And then pass it through, and then fix it on underneath the armpit. Pull it to your desired stretchiness, and then sew underneath the other armpit. That's it, really. It's quite simple. It just takes a while. As I say, this is quite baggy at the moment, but by the time we've folded and folded, because I'm actually going to fold that up to where the collar is, don't forget to have rather loose stitches here, because you can actually sew it to just one side of that bit. If you have tight stitches and it's hard going over your head, you're just going to break all your stitches. So you need to have a little bit of room. So literally again, fold and fold again. If you feel that this is too bulky and you just want to do a single edge, then that's into, so literally just fold it in half and then sew here, but it will fray and it's entirely up to you. But you can use something like a blanket stitch if you want to hold the edge in.
Okay.
So blanket stitch, back stitch, and if you need to, a tacking stitch. A tacking stitch is just like a big fat in and out stitch. So I've got some really bright thread here to show you. So if you wanted to tack this in place because you're fed up getting stabbed or something, so you literally do big fat stitches, literally just to hold the fabric in place while you put the stitches that you want in there, the discreet ones. Or you could just have it as big wide stitches. It may be part of the design. It's up to you. It's your stitching. So literally this is tacking stitches.
I just had my thread snap on me.
That's a pain.
Yeah.
I think you said the other day you kept getting loops in your work.
Yeah.
Yeah? Right. Let me just show you a trick. I'm going to put a couple books on this to hold it still, because otherwise I'm going to need 3 hands.
Is it called soap again by any chance?
Is it called what?
Is it called soap that you're going to say? Is it a different thing?
Yeah, just used a couple books to hold it still. Right. So if you're stitching, let's see if I can do this deliberately. And you've got a loop in it like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you've got a loop in it and it's a, so just tease it out so it's straight.
Yeah.
Put your needle through both threads.
Yeah.
Are you watching?
Yep.
Both threads, and then pull it till it's equal distance.
Yep.
And keep pulling to the other side of the thread. It's taut as well. So you've got 3 bits here, and I've zigzagged it, wiggled it around until it's all smooth, and then when I pull it again, there should be no loop.
Okay.
Okay? You weren't watching, I saw you. So let me do that again. So you've done that. You've now got a loop. So you sort the loop out, be very gentle with it, don't tug it because that will tie it into a knot, which will be a pain. Just hoping you can see this on your screen because I'm trying to do both at once. So put the needle in so that that bit is the same length, and you literally seesaw it, yeah, until all 3 bits are smooth and tight, and then let the needle out, and then it go down flat.
Okay.
If you get like a butterfly knot or something, you'll have to pick the bit where it's round the other thread to make it loose, to get it to smooth out. Then you can pull it through.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Cool. So that is how you alter a t-shirt neckline.
Okay.
And I'll just show you the one I literally finished just a few minutes ago. I have roughly pinned on the applique that I showed you earlier. But this is what it looks like from the outside. So you can see the original stitches here. And I've tried to follow the same sort of gap all the way around. So apart from a slight lessening of the width of the trim,
Yeah.
there shouldn't be any notice, because you can follow the stitch holes from the previous. See?
Yeah.
And then when I put that over, you're not going to even know it's been changed. So that's what I said earlier. The thing about home sewing is to make it look like that's how you bought it. So unless you want to be totally unique and put something different on it.
But it's up to you.
Sorry?
It's up to what you want.
Yes, it's entirely your taste. It's entirely how you want to do it.
You can make it as unique as you want. You can make it as different as you want. Or you can make it just as it was.
Exactly. There we go. Right, so have you got any other questions regarding sewing, sir? Or how to do something, or anything else you would like that I can help you with?
Not at the moment. So just give me a minute to tie this knot. And I'll show you what I've done so far. Because I've done using a new line because it's snapped.
What sort of knot are you using? Are you finishing it off a knot? Do you use French knot? Blank, look. Allow me to show you what a French knot is. and you may want to use it in future. Okay, so I'm using my bright thread. Oh, it's got caught.
What does that?
Right, so French knot is. Let me see if I can just alter this camera. Yeah. So, right, so we're going to put it through the fabric and put it through wherever you're going. All right, so that's, you put it through, right? So you do that once. Like that.
Yeah.
Ignore that because I'm just showing you the thing. Then you go through again.
At the moment is off camera. Can't see it.
Sorry. There we go. So you've gone through the fabric here and here.
Yeah.
All right. Then you go through again right next to where that tail comes out.
Yeah.
And you literally wrap it round
That's
at
what
least
I've been
3 times. So you hold it to one side so it doesn't get tangled up. Make sure the threads are even. Pull it through. And then go through again twice.
That's what
Then that will hold the edges in and it won't come out. You'd have to cut it.
Doing.
Cool. Excellent, sir. I mean, I've seen people where they've actually cut the thread and then cut the thread and then tied it in a butterfly knot, and it's like, that's going to come undone as soon as it's washed.
Yeah.
So that's called a French knot, and you can actually do that with embroidery thread or thick thread or even very thin string or even elastic, and you can actually make decorative knots with those. I actually did show it was like little cherries around the neckline, and to make the cherries I used a French knot but added it on 2 or 3 times so you had quite a little bunch so it looked like a cherry.
It's caught, snagged, and placed a knot.
Right. Don't pull it tight.
Yeah.
Tease the loops, and if you need to, put the needle through the tight bits and tease them loose. That's what I was saying earlier about teasing it loose. Because as soon as you pull it tight, it will clamp down. You can't undo it. But if you tease it, even if you have you got some spare pins? Have you got some I told you my mouse stopped working. Spare pins. Oh, you done it? Yeah. Pin a loop to the dog's head, and then you've got 2 hands free to play with the loops and undo them.
Okay.
Because the worst is trying to hold it still while you're trying to pull it apart at the same time, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
You
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
I hope that I was helpful in some way, and see you in a bit.
See you. Bye.